we were walking along and I had this wildflower book with me, and I was getting the children interested and asking them, sort of playing a little game really, see what that one's called, see if you can identify it, you know, that flower. And then my daughter said, "Mum, look, the moon is coming towards us." We looked up and we saw this sort of rugby ball shape, which was just hurtling towards us at an angle. We sort of crouched in the long grass quickly to avoid it, because our first thought being it was an aircraft on fire. I thought, oh goodness me, my life flashed in front of me when I saw this thing. My daughter was absolutely terrified. We then ran up the hill to see what was going on, and we saw this object, which was shaped like a crescent moon. Oh my God! It was physical. It was a physical object. I felt like I could have gone up and touched it. I felt myself sort of drawn to it. Well, really, I just wanted to have a closer look, probably curiosity. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like a bad dream. Mum, what are you doing? Come back! And I don't actually remember going right up close to it. I got as close as I can, but it seemed to burn my face, that the light was too bright. Mum! Mum, come back! I've never seen anything like that in my life before that day, and have never seen anything since. Mum! Mum! We didn't look back. We just ran down the hill, and we ran as fast as we could.
Terrified, the three ran straight home. When they got there, they discovered that an hour and a half could not be accounted for.
I came home from work, and the house was empty. Shortly after, my wife, daughter and son arrived, and they were very, very excited.
Dad, come look at the big bar in the sky!
They asked me what I thought they'd seen, and I took a wild guess and said a spaceship. And they replied, "Have you seen it also?"
8 o'clock in traffic news. Yet another lorry overturned.
Stranger things were to happen the next morning.
Do you want some toast and coffee, love?
What the hell's that on your face?
What?
Round my wife's eyes was all red, like it had been scorched, quite badly.
And they were all burnt and scaly just underneath and on the lids. Well, it wasn't really very sunny. In fact, it was fairly sort of overcast that weekend. So it wasn't due to sunbathing or anything like that. It was just very, very weird.
There'll be no questions until I'm completely sure that you're perfectly relaxed and perfectly comfortable, so I don't want you to think that there's any sort of hurry.
Lynda decided to see a hypnotist in a bid to discover what had happened during the last hour and a half.
And how will you actually hypnotise me? What happens? I can't actually remember the regression or anything about the regression.
But Lynda's session was recorded by the hypnotist. The results shocked her.
What's happening?
I'm watching the lights. There's someone standing next to them in the field.
Then what?
I'm floating. I'm in a room. There are 3 of them around me. They're tall. They've all got black hair. Big almond-shaped eyes. They're wearing jumpsuits of some kind. All in one.
What are they doing?
Shining a light in my face. My legs feel so cold. I see. I mean, I really can't believe it. It's so hard to take on board that sort of thing. I mean, I'm just a very ordinary, normal, down-to-earth human being. I definitely wasn't into that sort of thing. I didn't like anything about science fiction. I've never been interested in that sort of thing at all. So, I mean, the answer was, why me? Why us on that day? I'm definitely not prone to imaginary things. And it was definitely not an optical illusion. I mean, I find it's pretty hard for one person maybe to have an optical illusion, but for three people at the same moment in time to have an optical illusion. I mean, the odds are pretty small on that, aren't they?
Two Northamptonshire women who'd never met claim this is what happened to them in 1978.
I left work in the Daventry Teachers' Centre to drive home. I saw a brilliant red light over one side of the road and a brilliant green light over the other. It was attached to something grey, and I thought it was an aircraft, which was very low. But as I got nearer to it, I found that it was actually stationary. It was grey, smooth, plasticky looking, I thought. It was so smooth. I remember thinking that the traffic that was coming towards me would see it as I'd passed under it, but I didn't notice that anybody else was looking upward. That did register as being a little strange at the time. It was so perfect against this darkening sky. This dumbbell shape with these two bright lights underneath. I had no idea what this object was. I'd never seen anything like it at all. It wasn't an airship, it wasn't a helicopter, it wasn't an aeroplane. I felt no fear at all, just curiosity and strangeness that it was something the like of which I'd never seen before. I got in the car and drove further along the road. But my car, which had been serviced that day, suddenly malfunctioned. I changed from second gear to third, but instead of going faster, the car was slowing down and had come to a stop. The light had disappeared completely. I couldn't see the road, the trees, the buildings. I could see absolutely nothing at all, not even the car I was sitting in. Suddenly there was a circle of brilliant white light, and then that light went out and darkness returned, and then circles of brilliant white light shone in a pattern on the ground from left to right in a semicircle, on and off and on and off and on and off. I looked through the windscreen to see if I could see anything above that they could have come from, but I couldn't. Everywhere was black.
The next thing Elsie knew was that she was driving towards home.
When I got home, the kitchen clock said 6:15, and my journey had taken half an hour. The following day, that journey took 15 minutes.
2 hours later, and just 4 miles from Elsie's home, Georgina Lowry was driving 3 friends to a Women's Institute meeting. Georgina has never told her story fully before, though she did report her sighting to her local paper, just as Elsie had done. Her description of what she saw that night matches Elsie's exactly.
Can you see these lights up here?
Good gracious. There was a white light shining straight down from the clouds into the trees. As this light was shining, then the car started faltering. And then the light was suddenly switched off, and we saw a red and green light. And this object, or whatever it was absolutely pacing the car. And then the 2 lights went out into one single white light, which then shot off at speed that I've never seen before, and it wasn't a plane. There was no sound whatsoever. This was what was worrying.
When the story of the Northamptonshire UFO hit the papers, paranormal investigators asked Elsie to be hypnotized.
What's happening?
My head aches. There's a light, white light, coming towards me.
What can you see now?
There's a small creature coming towards me.
It was grey. It had rounded, curved lines around it, and there was the glow around it too. I just didn't know what they were at all. When people say to me that I dreamt it, or I made it up, I give them a short, sharp answer and say, I was there, you weren't. You didn't see it. You didn't experience anything that I have experienced.